of the Auditor General on the accounts of the Republic of the financial year ended 31st December 2021 for the second session of the 13th National Assembly, and this motion was seconded by
Order. Honorable members, when business was suspended, the House was considering the motion moved by the Honorable Member for Bwana Mukubwa that this House do adopt the report of the Public Accounts Committee on the report of the Auditor General on the accounts of the Republic for the financial year ended 31st December 2021 for the second session of the 13th National Assembly laid on the table of the House on Monday, 17th July 2023. And the Honorable Member for Mwandi was debating. May the Honorable Member continue.
Thank you so very much, Madam Speaker. I was speaking to page 168, where the report is speaking to ineligible beneficiaries under social cash transfer. I would want to say this is a challenge that we had. Like, for example, in my constituency, someone will have an NRC, but someone is getting the money elsewhere. We had families not married, no children, and they continue to get these monies, they were enrolled. And then, Madam Speaker, I also wanted to speak to the issue of loans. There was some reference that was done. I want to make mention that in Zambia, we have what is called the Credit Reference Bureau. This is whatever that is used to make sure that when you get a loan, you are referenced. Regardless of where you get a loan from, there's a credit bureau that is able to reference you. So, and then I also wanted to also make mention, in the new Dawn government, we also have the Smart Zambia that is currently available. So the Smart Zambia, what happens, the moment you just key in your NRC number, all your details come. So in regards to this report, Madam Speaker, I want to say also, just to make sure I mention this, that this report is actually a report from January to December. So as we are debating this, let's just take into fact that this irregularity started in January all the way through to December. With that being said, Madam Speaker, I would want to submit, and we are looking forward to these issues that have been raised to be resolved. I submit.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I have 3 members that have indicated. Looking at the volume of work which is still outstanding, I will only allow these honorable members to debate, then I'll give the ministers the opportunity to respond. So the honorable members that have indicated, the honorable member for Chama South, honorable member for Mbawala, then honorable member for Sinazongo. We start with the honorable member for Chama South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'll be very brief. I just have about 2 issues to contribute. The first issue has to do, Madam Speaker, with the concern over infrastructure that is not well looked after by those that are charged with the responsibility to look after these, especially fixed assets of the government. Madam Speaker, the state or the people of Zambia are spending a lot of money in putting up this infrastructure. The second had just mentioned that they were even struggling to have access to infrastructure that is at 80–90% complete. I think that is not how it should be. I believe, Madam Speaker, we have a department that is charged with the responsibility to look after government property. I know in the past, under Ministry of Works and Supply, we used to have a department that was dedicated to ensuring that the property is well looked after. Madam Speaker, in the current setup, if it is the hospital that is being constructed and is incomplete, it is expected that the district health director, through either a Minister of Infrastructure, they can come up with the mechanisms to ensure that government property is well looked after. And indeed, if you go to the sites where the infrastructure is at 60, 70, and 90%, in most cases, it's being vandalized and no one seems to care. That is the attitude that as Zambians we should depart from. These assets are being built at a very huge cost, and it's very, very important that we maintain them before they are completed. Another issue that, Madam Speaker, I feel we should take great concern is the issue of poor quality. It's been mentioned here. Poor quality of works that are being delivered. And this, Madam Speaker, is cascading even now to CDF projects. If you are to check, the government is releasing unprecedented amount in terms of CDF. This is the reality. But if you check the impact on the ground, if we are not careful, it will be something that us here on the left will come and enjoy when it comes campaign time comes. If we are not careful, I've said this already. You've seen in Solwezi projects being abandoned, and these council secretaries, they don't mind. Actually, they don't even care. They will simply say, we'll cancel the project, but it will be at what cost? How much money have they already paid towards the works that have been abandoned? So we should be able to pay particular attention if we are to get value for this money that we are being given. Then what is more disturbing, Madam Speaker, is what the Honourable Member for Lunte had mentioned. The refusal by the PS to be audited. That is constitutional, Madam Speaker. I feel this House or any one of us.
Order, Honourable Member. There is a pending ruling on that matter. So maybe I think if I were you, I would not discuss it now. Let me make a ruling because there was a point of order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to say we've got judicial processes that take care of, since I'm debating, I'm not questioning, but in my contribution, all the civil servants, Madam Speaker, are managed by administrative law, while the Constitution sets out the establishment of the government and its organs. The administrative part is taken up by the legislation through many sources as our law demands. And we've got ways of addressing certain shortcomings. In the case of what my colleague had mentioned, I wanted to mention that when we were detained as members of parliament, and we feel we've been detained or detained for a long time, where our lawyers are able to apply for writs of habeas corpus to ensure that we are brought before court. Similarly, Madam Speaker, if there are administrators of government agencies who are not doing what the law prescribes them to do, I think as citizens we should be alert enough to ensure that we apply for the order, or what you call, lawyers call the writs of mandamus, to ensure that they are compelled to do what is supposed to be done. And for me, I feel this will be the direction. Instead of us just talking or making it a political fight, it's better we take corrective judicial processes to prove that, if anything, that's how it should be, Madam Speaker. Then, in my final submission, I've taken all the, almost all the time. In my final submission, Madam Speaker, I want to appeal. This document is 400+ pages, and we are given 2 days to go through it. We are here to play oversight role on the executive. It is my appeal, Madam Speaker, that for such voluminous documents, let Secretariat be giving us enough time so that we can go through all the matters and we provide necessary oversight checks and balances on the executive. So I'll be appealing to Honorable Minister for Infrastructure. Please, Honorable Minister, if it means enhancing the capacity or establishing a dedicated team to ensure that we look after government property wherever it is being built countrywide, let's do that, because in the long run, the state will lose a lot of money just to restore the work which had already been done. Madam Speaker, with these few remarks, I wish to support and submit.
Thank you very much. Before you sit down, Honorable Member for Chama South, you can stand up. Honorable Member for Isoka, please, can you stand up? If you look back, what have you? I saw you coming, trying not to be in breach, but you ended up being in breach. You may take your seat. The Honorable Member for Mbabala.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for giving the good people of Mbabala an opportunity to support the Committee on Public Accounts for the period ended 31st December 2021, ably moved by Honorable Mwambazi from Bwanamkubwa and supported by Honorable Sabao from Chikankata. Madam Speaker, I rise on the two issues that we have observed in this country to be a big concern. This is the contract management, where we have continued to see contracts being poorly executed at various levels of government. And in this report, they are ably demonstrated by some of the issues that are in these contracts, that some of them don't have, have these small writings in small letters which our contract managers may not read or see, which have resulted in losses to this country in terms of financial and other resources. Madam Speaker, you also see issues of contractor site abandonment, issues of poor recovery for contractors who have left site and have not performed, issues of deliverables which have not been delivered by the contractor, and also poor payment schedules. I think you heard from Honorable Kambita when he talked about those kinds of payments which are deliberately delayed by our payment institutions, only to evoke a clause for late payment, and then a lot of money is paid, first of all, in penalties before even paying for the contract. This is happening in a very poor country where we need resources to finish up very important infrastructure such as the bridges in Mbabala constituency that need these monies to be done, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, even in our constituencies, we see these problems. For example, we have seen clinics such as Namyanda Clinic in Mbabala constituency that's been constructed in the last 20 years. Kachenje Clinic, almost 15 years. These clinics and other public infrastructure have been outstanding. Every year some small work is done and then nothing else is done. By the time, over the last 10 years, the infrastructure becomes completely dilapidated without even being used, not a single day saving the people. That is a lot of loss and wastefulness to the Zambian people. And these are the things which we want the new Dawn government to continue to sweep, Madam Speaker, to ensure that they no longer happen going forward. I also want to comment on wasteful expenditure. Most ministries were cited for wasteful expenditure. I think last year we also talked about this in the other audit report, over that 30 million that was given for empowerment of funds. And Madam Speaker, I want to recommend for strong audit committees in this area to control this wasteful expenditure We should not just be getting excuses for failure or not understanding the rules. We need to be seeing that action is taken, strong action is taken for those ministries where there is the misapplication and misappropriation, as well as other areas of wasteful expenditure. Again, Madam Speaker, we continue to call for cleaning of the system by the new Dawn government, because just like we heard from the papers yesterday about those junk policemen, most of these people who are in the positions of internal audit were also recruited by the same wasteful team that was voted out by the Zambian people. So, Madam Speaker, we need to remove these internal auditors who are colluding with some of the other people who are wasting our money. Madam Speaker, with these remarks, I'll call for the also amending of the public finance management system in order to strengthen and support easier services to our people, because we are in a hurry to deliver. We need to speed it up, and this act in some areas slows us down. We need to amend it so that we can speed up our work, and also to support key areas of investments, such as, for example, Ramcan services, education investment plus, and other areas that can help us make impact in our societies for us to get quality results that will impact on the society of Zambia. Madam Speaker, with these remarks, I submit and support the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The last debater, as earlier announced, the Honorable Member for Sinazongwe.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for giving the people of Sinazongwe an opportunity to debate on the your committee, headed by the Member of Parliament for Bwana Mukubwa, who ably articulated the report before this House, seconded by a Member of Parliament for Chikankata constituency, Honorable Sabao. Madam Speaker, the people of Zambia, including members of Parliament here, have been calling for the Office of the Auditor General to have teeth. If we don't arm the Office of the Auditor General, such reports, Madam Speaker, will keep coming and nothing will be done. At the end of the day, criminals will be heroized at the expense of the majority Zambians who need these resources that are being mismanaged. How else can you define a situation, Madam Speaker, where in Ngabwe a desk is costing 3,000 kwacha? A desk costing 3,000 kwacha. Is it made out of material of suggerite and lithium? It is high time, Madam Speaker, that we became serious as leaders to make these controlling officers accountable. Madam Speaker, even your committee should have teeth to bite. There is no way, because there is no way they can present a report without stating the action that the committee had taken. Such individuals should be behind bars. There is no way there can be a revelation to say a desk had to cost 3,000 and no action was taken. Again, there was a revelation that one institution was given about 91 sheds. To date, only 14 have been completed. Whose resources are being wasted? Because if you went today to say, can you complete, they'll ask for adjustment to their contract. Who pays that? It's the Zambian people. If you don't rise as members of parliament to defend what is wrong, a lot of resources will keep being wasted. We have a lot of pending issues, even in Sinazongwe. We have a school, Madam Speaker, which was abandoned way back. That's 2011. To date, nothing has happened. Why? Because of mismanagement of resources. We have a project in in Mwezi Award for rural electrification abandoned in 2014. To date, nothing has happened. Why? Mismanagement of resources. So it's important, it's incumbent upon the current government to make a difference. This report gives the current government an eye-opener to say the people of Zambia will no longer be interested in listening to thieves, Hiroshima thieves. If in your respective ministries you have wrong people, please put them out. You have capable people who supported you, who understand your vision as a party. Bring them in so that we can work smoothly for the betterment of Zambians. There are those who are employed using a party constitution. Let's leave them to go and rest. Let those who are determined to save the vision of the new Dawn administration take charge. Madam Speaker, it is quite painful and embarrassing that we keep on hearing reports of thieving in this public institution. And there is nothing that is happening. In some areas, Madam Speaker, procurement officers are not even touched.
Order. Sorry, Honorable Member for Sinazongwe. There is an indication for a point of order. Honorable Member for Nalolo, what's the point of order?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, reluctantly, but on fact, I've been following the debate of the member on the floor of the House, passionately so. But, Madam Speaker, I'm a member of this committee and I've read this report thoroughly. We did not audit Ngawe. We did not have any issue of desks at 3,000 kwacha. That could be a new issue, Madam Speaker. So I would like to understand, based on 65(1)(a), which report or which part of the report that the honorable member is referring to. Because public accounts deals with controlling officers. The committee that deals with local government is the Committee on Local Government Accounts. So is it in order to be referring to a report that even us, as members, are not aware of? I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, as earlier guided, as we debate, let's stick to the issues that are mentioned in the report. But maybe what I understand is the report was received by the honorable members late, so they did not have an opportunity to go through the report. So maybe they are now just using general knowledge acquired from other reports. I even heard the issue of Sojilite in the report. So, honorable member for Sinazongwe, please stick to the report as you debate.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, well guided. All in all, Madam Speaker, we as people of Zambia, we need to deter and admonish those who treasure in taking advantage of government resources. These government resources, Madam Speaker, they are needed by an ordinary person right in the remotest part of Sinazongwe. The report that has, the revelations, though not under the new Dawn administration, but under the previous administration, it is a wake-up call to the new Dawn administration to say, in your respective ministries, honorable ministers, take charge. Such reports are embarrassing to the government of the day. It is a wake-up call, it's a refresher course to you to say, be in charge. We don't want to hear anything of that nature under the new Dawn administration. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you very much. There is an indication that two honorable ministers are going to respond. I will start with the Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll be fairly brief, and I want to confine my comments to what has come out in the report with reference to infrastructure, and that is, number one, abandoned infrastructure projects and the escalating costs coming out of that. Well, Madam Speaker, first of all, I'm very sympathetic to the work of public accounts committees. because my past history in this House indicates that I was in exactly the same position that the honorable member for Bwana Mkubwa is. And I know they do a very wonderful job. But with respect to the comments made on infrastructure, let me first of all say, Madam Speaker, that the issues raised are legacy issues. The report is for a specific period, for the year 2021, for the financial year 2021. And Madam Speaker, you recall that we came in August as the New Dawn government. And so all the issues that talk about abandoned projects, there are abandoned projects that we found. What caused this, Madam Speaker? And these are the issues that we in the front bench of the New Dawn administration have repeatedly raised on the floor of this House. Any project in a functioning system must be supported by, first of all, a budget and also funds and regular disbursement of those funds to support the work that is taking place. What we have seen in the past, Madam Speaker, is the proliferation of projects that were dished out without real reference to where the money was going to come from, and in some cases without even having a budget. And the end result is that people rushed and got these contracts, the creation of new districts without reference to where the money was going to come from. And the end result is, even that the contracts were given and advance payments made, in a number of cases, there weren't enough resources to complete those projects. And hence, the rule that was there even before we came in, that anything less than 80% completion must be suspended. Madam Speaker, this is why this New Dawn administration, in an attempt to be methodical in the way we do things, we have spent time to review all the projects and come up with a policy to cancel some of these contracts so that we can be on top of the project administration in this country, the contract administration. We have had on roads alone over 1,000 projects or contracts were given, not projects, but contracts were given. These are costing the country huge sums of money. And hopefully, as we get on top of this problem that has been raised by the Public Accounts Committee will be a thing of the past. The other matter, Madam Speaker, refers to the quality of works that is done. Again, I agree with them that in a number of cases, whether it is buildings, whether it is roads, what we have seen is poor quality of workmanship, lack of supervision, and that is why the New Dawn administration has taken it upon itself to ensure that going forward, all projects will be properly supervised, especially in infrastructure, to make sure that this country gets value for money. But in the main issue is, let us not be in a system where contracts are given out without reference to the ability of contractors to carry out that work. We know that in the past, people got contracts and then ran around to try to sell it to other contractors, and therefore increasing costs and so on. What we are going to do as a government is, first of all, ensure that any contract, any project that we give out is governed by 3 elements. And those are the right price, right specifications, and delivery on time. Those are 3 guiding principles that will ensure that this country gets value for money on any project. And in terms of ensuring quality, we have now awakened some of the agencies that we have in government to make sure that they do their work properly. In terms of infrastructure, the National Construction Council, which is an agency of government reporting to my ministry, has now been tasked to ensure that even as work takes place, they go out constantly to measure, to make sure that all specifications at certain levels are met, instead of waiting until, for example, a 200-kilometer road is completed and then we find it has not been done properly. It's too late, it's too costly at that particular time. So with this, Madam Speaker, I sympathize with the Public Accounts Committee, but I think going forward, they can be comforted in the knowledge that this new Dawn administration is determined to be doing things correctly. And that's why they were voted in. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Acting Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me start by thanking the Public Accounts Committee for considering the report of the Auditor General in accordance with the terms of reference as enshrined under Standing Order number 192 of the National Assembly Standing Orders of 2021. Madam Speaker, allow me to thank the Office of the Auditor General for fulfilling its roles and responsibility with regard to the management of public resources, reporting, and accountability as contained in the Constitution and the relevant statutes. Madam Speaker, perhaps allow me to deal with the core issue that will address the many issues that have been debated upon in the Auditor General's report as reported by the Public Accounts Committee. And the key issue, Madam Speaker, is one of eliminating what you may call double dipping. Eliminating double dipping. Now, as a government, we have a 5-layered approach to eliminate this. The first thing that we are doing, Madam Speaker, collectively as government, is that we are working on what is called a digital identity, a unique number that will be given to every citizen, a number that will be underpinned by biometrics to ensure that every individual is identified. So you cannot move anywhere and adopt multiple identities. So it is simply called Know Your Customer. So we'll be doing the digital ID as the first layer. Madam Speaker, the second layer that we are doing is what is called system integration, system interoperating. And by this we mean, Madam Speaker, that the various systems faced within government will be able to shake their hands, that data in FISIP, data in social cash transfer, data in youth development fund will be able to be compared across the system. So regardless of where you enter in government, you only enter once, and you only enter and access a government facility once and not twice. That is system handshake. That is what we are working on. That is the second layer, Madam Speaker. The third layer that we are working on, Madam Speaker, is called data harmonization and integrity. And by this, Madam Speaker, is the collection of data in relation to the services that are given to the Zambian citizen, so that we can be able to measure, for example, the performance of CDF, the performance of social cash transfer, so that the decision-making ability of government is much more precise. That is called data harmonization and integration. And at the fourth layer, Madam Speaker, is called cyber resilience. One is to be able to prevent the manipulation of data or entry in the system. And number two is to ensure that the system has got capabilities to take corrective measures. And that is called cyber resilience. That is cyber resilience. So this will be able to ensure that whether you enter through cadastre in mining, you'll be able to be identified. So you cannot have mine number 1, mine number 2, mine number 3. The system will reject your application. That is what, so the system itself will be able to talk to system to eliminate those that may have the habit of accessing more than one service as a citizen. Madam Speaker, on top of that, we were in Rwanda, and we're also working on what is called electronic invoicing system. And what this simply means, Madam Speaker, with the colleagues from ZRA that we went with, working with their equivalent from Rwanda, are going to ensure that VAT, which has continuously been negative in this country, goes to be positive. And how will that be done? Again, is system integration. What our colleagues in Rwanda are able to do is that every transaction, every invoice enters in the system. So before you make your tax return, the Revenue Authority will send you their assessment of what you have interacted. If you had lunch today, Madam Speaker, the Revenue Authority in Rwanda will be able to say you had a steak costing so much and the VAT content is so much. So that will be on the system. So there's no way you can avoid any and escape the system. It also provides a facility, Madam Speaker, and we are going to revise the law in this regard, that any payment from government for any contracts, whether it's CDF or whatever it is, it will be paid, you'll be paid your net, and the VAT and other tax components will be paid separately to ZRA. So when you make a return, it will show that it has been deducted. So that is what we are doing in terms of getting everything together. And the fifth layer, Madam Speaker, is called connectivity. And connectivity, Madam Speaker, is that within government itself, government to government, the government to government system must be able to be integrated and talking to each other. And having one common database and one common information. And that, Madam Speaker, is government to government. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, the next one is government to business and government to citizen. Madam Speaker, the key point that we are making here is what is in the report and the debate, that there is been fraud, double dipping. So we want to eliminate that by having a systematic approach where a citizen can no longer double dipping. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Shiwangandu, the Minister was just trying to respond. Sorry, we have limitations in terms of time. We need to wind up. The Minister was responding to issues that were raised by the Honorable Member for Kamfisa. And the honor, yes, it was raised by the Honorable Member for Kamfisa. And I could see the Honorable Member for Kamfisa listening very attentively together with the Honorable Member for Nkana. They were joined by the Honorable Member for Kaumbwe. All of them were very attentive. So let's leave it. We don't have much time. May the Honorable Member for Bwana Mkubwa wind up debate.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me take this opportunity to thank the Acting Minister of Finance for his intervention, and also the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. Madam Speaker, let me also thank my honorable colleagues. 9 of them have debated on this report. And Madam Speaker, they've raised various issues which are very, very important. And Madam Speaker, one of it is a time given for them to look at the report, looking at the magnitude. That is very, very important, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I thank you so much and I beg to move. Thank you.
Thank you. I put the question. The question is that this House do adopt the report of the Public Accounts Committee on the report of the Auditor General on the accounts of the Republic for the financial year ended 31st December 2021. For the second session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Monday, 17th July 2023. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. The clerk will now read the orders of the day.
The National Prosecution Authority Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2023, resumption of committee work.
Order, honorable members. I now consolidate orders number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the House will now resolve into committee.
When business was interrupted yesterday, Tuesday, 18th July 2023, the committee of the whole House was considering amendment made by Mr. Kafwaya on Clause 4 of the National Prosecution Authority Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2023. And Mr. Kafwaya was debating. May the honorable member continue.
Chairperson, thank you so much for enabling me to continue submitting on the amendment that I am proposing for the deletion of 3 under Clause 4. Mr. Chairman, yesterday I was just about to lay before the House my justification for why I'm lobbying the House to consider deleting this. As a matter of fact, new information has emerged, which information is that the amendment which was moved by the Honourable Minister also ensured that clause Section 7, Section 7A was deleted and substituted with another section which is still problematic. The new section reads as follows. 7A1.
On a point of order, Mr. Speaker.
7A1. The board will provide the policy
Point of order,
direction
Mr.
to the
Speaker.
authority to,
There's a point of
despite
order. There's a point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise pursuant to Section 65, 1A on relevance. Mr. Speaker, the honourable member debating, the honourable member for Lunte, has considered that, in fact, the amendment proposed by government, which was passed prior to the proposed amendments by the honourable member for Lunte, addresses the matter which was the subject of the proposed amendments. Then the honourable member has gone on to say that the amendments which were passed and debated already are problematic, suggesting that he now wants to debate those amendments moved by myself, which debate has already been closed. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the question is the honourable member in order to attempt to debate the matters that were already debated and which are not relevant to the suggested amendments which the honourable member put forward? I seek your ruling, Mr. Speaker.
Order. I advise the honourable member to desist from debating on an amendment that was this House already passed. Your focus should be on the amendment that was moved, what you moved yourself. Whatever this House agreed is non-involved, and there's no reason whatsoever in this House that you should try to debate about it.
Chair, my amendment is on clause 4. I propose the deletion of information on clause 4. I want to veer off from clause 4. Mr. Chairman, in section 6, in the substantive act which is being amended, there is text which reads as follows. Except as otherwise provided in this act, the authority shall not, in the performance of its functions, be subject to the direction or control of any person or authority other than the Director of Public Prosecutions. This is the NPA Act number 34 of 2010. The authority cannot be directed by any person, by any authority other than the DPP. This is the DPP who is now being put under subjection by the same authority, which can only be directed by the DPP. Mr. Chairperson, we have been advised that this amendment is not only awkward, but it's not well-meaning. This is why stakeholders have said, postpone this bill. Let this bill be properly considered. There is no way in the same piece of legislation you can say the authority can only be directed by the DPP on one clause, and on the next clause you are saying the DPP can only be directed by the authority. It is awkward and contradictory, and if it passes through our hands, and goes to His Excellency for assent, and the President is made to assent to an act that is contradictory within itself, other than contradicting the Constitution.
On a point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Other than
Order. The House, let's be quite orderly. Point of orders during debate are allowed. Wait, let me guide you. let me guide you. The minister is expected to respond at the end, but in an event that the member is abrogating his own submission, the minister, who is the mover of the bill, can intercept. I mean, you should be able to read your standing orders. So the minister is still in order to intercept. Yes, yes. So the Honorable Minister can continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Indeed, we appreciate your guidance. Mr. Speaker, the point of order is raised again pursuant to Section 65, 1A, relevance. Mr. Speaker, the amendment proposed by the Honorable Member for Lunte, and we cannot overemphasize this point, he prefaced it yesterday and said that his objection was to the manner in which the original substantive amendment was put forward. That is in relation to the then proposed 7A, which provided in clause 3 that the DPP can have, the board can delegate certain functions to the DPP. And this is what the Honourable Member appears to be suggesting. The point of order arises from the fact, Mr. Speaker, and as conceded by the Honourable Member, that that is no longer the position. The proposed amendment, substantive amendment in subclause 3, which specified that the DPP could have delegation from the board, was removed. Therefore, it is not relevant to now debate the same point which the member already conceded, that it was removed. In addition, the amendment which was passed on the floor of the House by ourselves as government clearly provides, and I'll read, that in the new paragraph 3, the board shall not perform the functions of the Director of Public Prosecutions specified in the Constitution and in this Act. That is the amendment that was passed. Therefore, the suggestion by the Honourable Member in his debate that the contrary continues to subsist is not factual or relevant on the floor of this House. Is he in order to continue that debate, having considered that this amendment was passed? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, thank you. Honourable members, let's avoid debating while he's seated. As I think the Honourable Member, Mr. Kafwaya, was reminded to desist from debating issues that himself, because that clause, I listened to it attentively, he conceded to it that he removed it. And then bringing it in the context of debate, that confuses the whole debate. So my point of view is that let's stick to it. Let's stick to something that is substantive. The matter that was already resolved and passed, let's avoid going to it. And honourable members, I know as much as you'd want him to proceed, whether in the right or wrong direction, he still has the support of the masses that side. Let's ensure that he becomes more relevant by debating to issues that are quite relevant on the floor. You may continue, Honourable Member.
Mr. Chairman, the issue of delegating to the DPP is important. This is what we are objecting. Let me, and I intend to speak very briefly because we can't keep on repeating the same things. And I'm sure, Mr. Chairman, you have already heard my submission, and the people out there, including the Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister, let me read just a few things that you have put in this bill under the clause 4, which is the relevant clause. You are saying, despite the generality of subsection 1. No. Just listen, Honourable Minister. What you have put on under clause 4 of this bill, you are saying, despite the generality of subsection 1, the functions of the board are to A, approve the policies of the authority, B, approve the annual work plans, action plans, and activity plans of the authority. And I'll end there. Then I'll ask you, Honorable Chair, if the DPP makes a plan and says, I'm going to prosecute the following, and these plans are subject to approval by the board, and the board says no, will the DPP prosecute? The answer is no. So the power is still with the people who should only be directed by the DPP according to Section 6 of the Substantive Act, which has not been amended. This remains awkward. It remains inconsistent. It follows, therefore, that let's follow the wisdom of those who submitted to this assembly that defer the bill. Go and think again and bring a text which is consistent for posterity to judge this House correctly. Mr. Chairman, I submit.
Mr. Anakoka.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's a little bit confusing to even understand what one is actually supposed to be responding to, because the submissions that the member has made were voted on yesterday. But that said, Mr. Speaker, we will try and clarify things and make them very simple. Yeah. In the generality of things, Mr. Speaker, what seems to be confusing some of our colleagues is that the word head as used in Article 180, Sub-Article 7 of the Constitution, is being given a technical meaning, which was not the intention of the drafters of the Constitution. It has got no technical meaning other than the literal use of the word head. Yeah. And that's why last week when we were debating other sections of this amendment bill, we said in the same Constitution under Article 136, the Constitution says the Chief Justice is the head of the judiciary. But the same Constitution creates the Chief Judiciary Administrator as the accounting officer and the controlling officer for the judiciary, demonstrating the point that the word head has got no other meaning beyond what would be attributed to it in the specific law. Let's come to the bill under consideration. Mr. Speaker, the NPA bill, as it sits right now under Section 3, sorry, the NPA Act, under Section 3, makes it very clear.
There is a point of order. Mr. Fube.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, I think it's very important that as we debate, we are relevant according to Standing Order number 65. The member debating has just quoted the article. He said 180 clause 7. And he referred to it that that's the one which talks about the DPP as being the head. But that is found, excuse me, that is found in what he has quoted is found in 180 clause 3, which talks about the director being the chief prosecutor as well as the head of NPA. So is the member on the floor in order to mislead this House on the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land.
Thank you. I need more time to start that matter, so I reserve my ruling. May the honourable member continue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. So the gist of the matter is that the word head has got no technical meaning beyond its ordinary use. Now, coming to the NPA Act, Mr. Speaker, Section 3 of the NPA Act is very clear that the NPA is a body corporate. And whenever you are talking about any institution being a body corporate, corporate governance kicks in. Corporate governance kicks in. And these matters have been explained over and over. Now, the specific submission that my colleague is seeking to debate today, which has since been removed as in the amendments moved by the minister, we can explain that what the minister has moved in the amendment bill now insulates the DPP. There cannot be any direction, since that specific section says no function can be performed by the body of the NPA, which is contradicting the specific functions that have been assigned to the DPP. How much more insulation can a law provide for an office? Now, let's compare that with what it looks like right now. As things stand right now, Mr. Speaker, the law only provides for the establishment of the board, which means that, as we have said over and over, if that board was to be populated by activist individuals, they can easily overrule the DPP, even in his prosecutorial responsibilities, because there is no law that was placing any boundaries between what they can and what they cannot do. This amendment is now giving them more assurance to the independence of the DPP, to make sure no one can interfere with his prosecutorial responsibilities. So any suggestion, Mr. Speaker, that there is anything further to debate in terms of the amendment that have been moved, I would submit is actually being mischievous. Because the amendments that the House voted on yesterday and last week closed this matter fully. And with these few words, Mr. Speaker, I would just like to suggest that we do not entertain any further suggestions to amend these proposed amendments as moved by the Minister of Justice. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Mr. Fube.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving the people of Chilubi the opportunity to add their voice on this very important matter. Mr. Speaker, the people of Chilubi would like to state that as we look at this factor, Zambia is at crossroads. Zambia is at crossroads because we want to...
On a point of order, Mr. Speaker. There's a point of order by the Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise once again and I'll be deliberate on Standing Order 65(1)A, relevance. Mr. Speaker, to start with, the Honorable Member who's taken the floor is engaging in general debate without indicating to what he's speaking in terms of the business that we are dealing with in the House. For the sake of reminder, please learn something. For the sake of reminder, Mr. Speaker, the chairperson, the presiding officer.
Order. Let's ensure that we observe ordinance in this House. When one member is on the floor, let's ensure that they finish, and then if you want to speak as well, indicate. You'll be given an opportunity. Because Zambians are listening out there. May the Honorable Minister continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The chairperson in this committee stage, where we are now, gave specific direction that we are now dealing with the proposed amendments to clause 4 by the Honorable Member for Lunte, and specifically the amendments were to the following effect. In lines 23 to 29, by deletion of subsections 3 and 4 of the substantive bill as presented by me, those particular provisions related to the question of delegation of the functions of the board to the DPP and a subsequent follow-up to that in clause 4. Mr. Speaker, this honorable member cannot start to make a general debate. The member should be limited to the proposed amendment. That is what we are discussing. Further, Mr. Speaker, as I already submitted and Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman already ruled, these particular lines 3 and 4, subsections 3 and 4, which the honorable member of Lunte wants to remove as his amendment, have already been removed. So what is the relevance of this debate, Mr. Speaker? There is none whatsoever. They have already been removed. You must learn to be passionate. When you have 1.8 million votes, you're passionate. Mr. Speaker, the point of order I'm raising is that this debate by the honorable member, and I dare suggest any honorable member going forward, is irrelevant as the issues have already been addressed. And I'm speaking for emphasis, Mr. Speaker. Is the honorable member in order, therefore, to continue on this path? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I think, honorable members, I know I'm enjoying this debate as a presiding officer because it's highly technical in nature. So those of you who are forwarding yourselves to speak, essentially you have to be technical and well-vested to the debate. May the honorable member continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I like the energy of the minister, but all the same, I'm not disturbed. The clause that the honorable member was proposed amendments, which the minister is speaking to, are issues on perpetual succession in terms of corporate governance and many factors, as in terms of how perpetual succession can interact with the Constitution. When I stood up to debate, I started from the point of view I wanted to bring in that the member who was debating, who proposed an amendment, talked about Section 6 of the Principal Act, which is the NPA Act number 34 of 2010, which has not been touched. And if that has not been touched, meaning the removal of what is referring to does not even stand, because law cannot be made in retrogressive, retrospectively. So, that being the case, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, what I'm pointing to is, in as far as the delegation is concerned.
Honorable member.
Yes.
I know your voice is quite sharp, but you can't moderate it.
Okay, I'll moderate my voice. I can even relax.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, what I'm talking about is that issues of delegation, we are talking about, you cannot make the law. He made a proposal. We need to understand how the law is made. An amendment is a proposal, and there is no way the minister can come to lecture to us here that those have been removed, the order of parliament, because there's manner and norm in parliament, in the Commonwealth. You cannot say that this...
Honorable member, stick to clause 4.
Yes, I'm talking about clause 4.
Yes.
I'm trying to address what the minister brought out.
Honorable member, let me guide, sit. This clause has got specifics.
Yes.
As such, you need to stick to that. But in your debate, it's losing relevance because you are talking about things that have already been passed. You are talking about things that have already been resolved. So just stick to your debate. That's why the minister has kept interjecting you, because you're talking about things that were already resolved. You know, I've been following the whole debate. But the problem is that you are debating about things that were already resolved, things that were already passed. So stick to the content of debate on the floor of the House.
Mr. Chair, maybe let me just ask the question to this parliament. If he made an amendment which is supposed to be debated on the floor, in which, because we debated on Section 7, amendments on Section 7, meaning that according to the norm in the Commonwealth Parliament, the clause 4 is supposed to be subjected to debate because a member proposed amendments. And there's no way, cleverly, that a minister can go around and say that those have been removed, therefore the debate is flat. I refuse, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, if we even read the references.
Honorable member, how do you
Yes.
refuse on things that have already been resolved? This house has got rules. If a clause has been passed, you don't go back. And then how do you don't have, you even have the audacity to say, no,
No, Mr. Chair. I think Mr. Chair, I think with all due respect, Mr. Chair, with all due respect, Parliament has ways of following the manner, and I'm supposed to learn from you. And I don't think that you are guiding me well on this one, Mr. Chair. Yes, I don't think that you are guiding me well on this one, Mr. Chair. There's no way, Mr. Chair, that you start exchanging words with your own member in this manner, Mr. Chair. Yes, I think it's unacceptable, Mr. Chair.
There's a point of order. You can go ahead. Oh, Honorable. Honorable member, you say you rose on a point of order. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing the good people of Sakire to rise on a very serious point of order, citing Standing Orders number 65 on the Minister of Justice. Mr. Chairman, this report under debate is for the Minister of Justice. And the honorable member who's just on the floor immediately rose before he could even put his points so that the minister could tap some wisdom in it. He immediately rose to interject. Is the minister in order to behave in such a manner when he himself has failed to state what is curing in these amendments? I seek your serious ruling, Mr. Chairman. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Member. I think I guided earlier that as much as the minister is supposed to respond to the concerns that will be raised, that does not stop the minister to offer guidance. If, listen, no, listen. If a member on the floor keeps on misdirecting himself, the minister, the standing orders gives him mandate to rise on a point of order, because we can't continue to be misled as the debate is progressing. So what the minister did is still orderly, if you follow our rules. This house, we operate using rules. We don't operate outside the rules. So we are guided by the rules. It does not mean that the minister should just respond at the end. If the member on the floor of the house has kept misdirecting himself, the minister can rise on a point of order. Yes. So let's proceed. Who is on the floor? Honorable Member Chirubi. And Honorable Member for Chirubi, this debate is not timed. As such, wind up the next 2 minutes so that others debate.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairperson, then I would like to stay aside from this debate. My rights have been tampered with now. Yes.
All right. Okay. The next debater, Mr. Tembo.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Tembo, let's continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we've been told that the basis for these amendments relate to providing checks and balances to the DPP. And unfortunately, the DPP has been misunderstood to be a CEO-like parastatal. Allow me, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, to say that the intention of the Constitution was to allow the DPP full control of the National Prosecution Authority. Even the board is not in the manner in which boards of ZESCO and others are designed. In making plans activities and so on by the board. These are meant to... Mr. Speaker, the board, as it makes these plans, they must be in consonant with what is the provision in the Constitution as it relates to the duties of the DPP. That being the case, the board cannot be chaired by another person. And we cannot
order,
delegate.
Mr. Speaker, on a point of order.
We cannot delegate.
On a point of order, Mr.
There's
Speaker.
no way the board can
Point
delegate
of order.
its duties. Mr. Speaker.
Let me guide, for the sake of progress, the honorable member for Feira, I think, direct your energy towards the amendment. Let's avoid the shooting outside the box. And because if you avoid shooting outside the box, there won't be point of orders. Restrict yourself to the amendment. Restrict yourself to the amendment. I know you are a learned man. You know what is at stake. You know what we are looking at. So just stick to the amendment, and there won't be any interjection. But if you go off your way, people interject, and the debate won't be smooth. That's my advice. Let's progress.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, these things are interrelated. So, anyway, I do not intend to stay long, but suffice to add that the amendment seeks to provide for delegation of the functions of the board to the DPP. Mr. Speaker, the issue here, as I was saying, and as it has already been said, let's allow the DPP to enjoy its constitutional independence. In fact, Mr. Speaker...
Honorable member for Feira.
Can I say?
There's an amendment that is on the floor of the House. Talk to it. This is not, this debate is technical. As such, approach it in that order. Address the concerns that you are against and those that you are advocating for. Don't be suggestive in a way. Just stick to the debate. Maybe you didn't take time to read the amendment. So just stick to the amendment. If you stick to the amendment, the debate will be very tidy. You may proceed.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman.
Order. What is happening that... Order. I think the honorable member for Feira, wait. But it's also good to see that you are in harmony. May the honorable member continue. The honorable member for Shiwangandu, take your seat. The honorable member for Feira, continue. Let's progress. No more point of orders. Continue.
It's difficult to continue.
May you take your seat, honorable member? Honorable member for Feira, continue.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we want to just emphasize these points. The minister has presented to this House a bill which is repugnant. It's backward and internationally unacceptable. Having said that, I fully support the amendments by Honorable Atotwe Mfwanya. And indeed, I find it very difficult for the future of this country. Because this bill, which the minister has brought, is meant for a short term, and yet the law must stand the test of time. And very soon, they will be the victims of the same bill that they're talking about. Thank you.
May the Honorable Minister of Justice respond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the item for debate was the suggested amendment by the Honorable Member for Lunte to Clause 4 by the deletion of, in the substantive amendment, Clauses 3 and 4. Mr. Speaker, as a listening government. This issue came up in the substantive debates earlier and in the report, and accordingly the government moved amendments to do exactly what the Honourable Member for Lunte was suggesting in his proposed amendment. It is therefore not necessary to belabor the point. It has already been done and achieved, and in fact, the new clause 4, which was approved by this House yesterday, is very clear for the avoidance of doubt. It provides as follows. In clause 3, which is the subject of this debate, it reads very clearly, and for the people of Zambia to not be misled, the board shall not perform the functions of the Director of Public Prosecutions in the Constitution and in the Act. Therefore, there is no possibility of the board usurping the constitutional functions of the DPP. We have attended to it in our amendment. Therefore, insofar as there is a request that this Honourable House allows the amendments proposed by Honourable Kafwaya, my submission, Mr. Speaker, is that there is no need for the amendments as they have been already attended to. Therefore, the House should wholesomely once again reject the proposed amendments. They are irrelevant. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
I put the question. The question is that clause 4 be amended with words as circulated. As many of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The noes have it. The question is negatived. Amendment falls off. Let's make progress. On what, Honourable Member?
Mr. Chairman, on the voice intonation of the chair when saying the amendment is negative, the intonation is unusually suggesting that
So
the chair...
what you are trying to raise a point of on me?
Voice intonation, Mr. Chairman.
No. Let's operate with the rules. No one can move, can raise a point of order against me. Your standing orders don't allow you, Honorable. But I know it's on a lighter note. Yes, we thank you for bringing this amendment because people at least they've learned something. I mean, it's welcome. At times these things are academic exercise, but it's good. It's good. It's good. Order. Clause 5, amendment of first schedule. The question is that clause 5 stands part of the bill. The Honourable Minister of Justice.
I beg to move that the first schedule be amended with words as circulated.
The question is that clause 5 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate, any objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 5 as amended. Any further debate? Mr. Kafwaya.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to make a contribution on the amendment being proposed by the Honourable Minister of Justice. Mr. Chairman, I can see that my honourable colleagues on your left or on your right are unable to tender support to the Honourable Minister. So I rose in order to support the Minister so that he can be clear that this particular amendment is supported by myself, even though I do not support the bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you. I put the question. The question is that clause 5 as amended stands part of the bill. As many are of that opinion, say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 5 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Long title. Any debate? Any objection? Long title is agreed to. The bill will be reported to the House as having gone past through the committee stage with amendment. The Human Rights Commission Bill, National Assembly Bill number 8 of 2023, Clause 1, short title. Any amendment, any debate, any objection? Clause 1 is agreed to. Clause 2, interpretation. The question is that Clause 2 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Justice.
I beg to move that clause 2 be amended with words as circulated.
The question is that clause 2 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate, any objection? Clause 2 as amended, any further debate? I put the question. The question is that clause 2 as amended stands part of the bill. As many are of that opinion, say aye. Of the contrary, say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 2 as amended is ordered to stand as part of the bill. Clause 3, core principles of the Commission. Any debate, any objection? Clause 3 is agreed to. Clause 4, Human Rights Commission. Any debate, any objection? Clause 4 is agreed to. Clause 5, seal of Commission. Any debate, any objection? Clause 5 is agreed to. Clause 6, additional functions of Commission. Any debate, any objection? Clause 6 is agreed to. Clause 7, composition of Commission. Any debate, any objection? Clause 7 is agreed to. Clause 8, proceedings of Commission. Any debate, any objection? Clause 8 is agreed to. Clause 9, committees. Any debate, any objection? Clause 9 is agreed to. Clause 10, emoluments of members. The question is that Clause 10 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Justice.
I beg to move that clause 10 be amended with words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 10 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate, any objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 10, as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that Clause 10, as amended, stands part of the bill. As many are of that opinion, say aye. Of the contrary, say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 10, as amended, is ordered to stand as part of the bill. Clause 11, Director General, Secretary, and other staff. Any debate, any objection? Clause 11 is agreed to. Clause 12, oath on appointment. Any debate, any objection? Clause 12 is agreed to. Clause 13, disclosure of interest. Any debate, any objection? Clause 13 is agreed to. Clause 14, prohibition of publication or disclosure of information to unauthorized persons. Any debate, any objection? Clause 14 is agreed to. Clause 15, immunity. Any debate, any objection? Clause 15 is agreed to. Clause 16, appointment of authorized officers. Any debate, any objection? Clause 16 is agreed to. Clause 17, powers of entry and search. Any debate, any objection? Clause 17 is agreed to. Clause 17, powers of investigation. Any debate, any objection? Clause 18 is agreed to. Clause 19, Complaints. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 19 is agreed to. Clause 20, inquiry by commission. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 20 is agreed to. Clause 21, report and recommendations of the commission. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 21 is agreed to. Clause 22, suspension of commission's power for matter in court. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 22 is agreed to. Clause 23, funds of commission. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 23 is agreed to. Clause 24, financial year. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 24 is agreed to. Clause 25, accounts and audit. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 25 is agreed to. Clause 26, annual reports. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 26 is agreed to. Clause 27, protection of persons acting in good faith. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 27 is agreed to. Clause 28, offenses by principal officers of the board, corporate or an incorporated board. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 28 is agreed to. Clause 29, execution of judgment. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 29 is agreed to. Clause 30, appeals. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 30 is agreed to. Clause 31, general offenses. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 31 is agreed to. Clause 32, regulations. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 32 is agreed to. Clause 33, repeal of Act Cap 48 and savings and transitional arrangements. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 32 is agreed to. Schedule on page 33. Any debate? Any objection? Any objection? Schedule on page 33 is agreed to. Long title. Any debate? Any objection? Long title is agreed to. The bill will be reported to the House as having passed through the committee stage with amendments. Environmental Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2023. Clause 1, short title. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 1 is agreed to. Clause 2, amendment of Section 2. The question is that Clause 2 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Green Economy and Environment.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that Clause 2 be amended with words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 2 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate and objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 2 as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that Clause 2 as amended stands part of the bill. As many are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 2 as amended is ordered to stand as part of the bill. Clause 3 as amended of Section 6. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 3 is agreed to. Clause 4, amendment of Section 9. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 4 is agreed to. Clause 5, amendment of Section 11. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 5 is agreed to. Clause 6, insertion of Section 12A. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 6 is agreed to. Clause 7, amendment of Section 13. The question is that Clause 7 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Green Economy and Environment.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that Clause 7 be amended with words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 7 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 7 as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that Clause 7 as amended stands part of the bill. As many are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 7 as amended is ordered to stand as part of the bill. Clause 8, amendment of section 29. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 8 is agreed to. Clause 9, insertion of section 29A and 29B. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 9 is agreed to. Clause 10, amendment of section 30. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 10 is agreed to. Clause 11, amendment of section 31. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 11 is agreed to. Clause 12, amendment of section 37. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 12 is agreed to. Clause 13, amendment of section 40. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 13 is agreed to. Clause 14, amendment of section 53. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 14 is agreed to. Clause 15, amendment of 56. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 15 is agreed to. Clause 16, repeal and replacement of 61. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 16 is agreed to. Clause 17, repeal and replacement of 65. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 17 is agreed to. Clause 18, insertion of 65A. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 18 is agreed to. Clause 19, amendment of section 66. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 19 is agreed to. Clause 20, amendment of section 90. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 20 is agreed to. Clause 21, amendment of section 105. The question is that clause 21 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Green Economy and Environment.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that clause 21 be amended with words as circulated.
The question is that clause 21 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate? Any objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 21 as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that clause 21 as amended stands part of the bill. As many are of that opinion, say aye. Of the contrary, say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 21 as amended is ordered to stand as part of the bill. Clause 22, repeal and replacement of section 111. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 22 is agreed to. Clause 23, amendment of section 112. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 23 is agreed to. Clause 24, amendment of section 113. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 24 is agreed to. Clause 25, repeal and replacement of 115. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 25 is agreed to. Clause 26, amendment of section 117. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 26 is agreed to. Clause 27, amendment of section 132. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 27 is agreed to. Clause 28, amendment of first schedule. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 28 is agreed to. Long title. Any debate? Any objection? Long title is agreed to. The bill will be reported to the House as having passed through the committee stage. Passed through the committee stage with amendments. The Zambia Institute of Validation Surveyors Bill, National Assembly Bill number 9 of 2023. Clause 1, short title. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 1 is agreed to. I put the question. The question is that clause 1 stands part of the bill. As many are of that opinion, say aye. Of the contrary, say no. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 1 is ordered to stand as part of the bill. Clause 2, interpretation. The question is that clause 2 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
I beg to move that clause 2 be amended with the words as circulated.
The question is that clause 2 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate? Any objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 2 as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that clause 2 as amended stands part of the bill. As many are of that opinion, say aye. Of the contrary, say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 2, as amended, is ordered to stand as part of the bill. Clause 3, continuation and renaming of Valuation Surveyors Board. Any debate? Any objection? Clause 3 is agreed to. Clause 4, functions of the institute. The question is that Clause 4 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
I beg to move that Clause 4 be amended with the words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 4 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate, any objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 4 as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that Clause 4 as amended stands part of the bill. As many are of that opinion, say aye. Of the contrary, say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 4 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 5, Constitution of the Institute. Any debate, any objection? Clause 5 is agreed to. Clause 6, President, Vice President, and other office bearers. Any debate, any objection? Clause 6 is agreed to. Clause 7, Meeting of Institute. Any debate, any objection? Clause 7 is agreed to. Clause 8, Council of Institute. The question is that Clause 8 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
I beg to move that Clause 8 be amended with words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 8 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate, any objection? The amendment is agreed to. Clause 8 as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that Clause 8 as amended stands part of the bill. As many are of that opinion, say aye. Of the contrary, say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 8 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 9, Functions of Council. Any debate, any objection? Clause 9 is agreed to. Clause 10, Registrar and other staff. Any debate, any objection? Clause 10 is agreed to. Clause 11, Prohibition of practicing without registration. Any debate, any objection? Clause 11 is agreed to. Clause 12, Application for registration as member. Any objection? Any debate, any objection? Clause 12 is agreed to. Clause 13, Determination for registration as member. Any debate, any objection? Clause 13 is agreed to. Clause 14, Certificate of registration. Any debate, any objection? Clause 14 is agreed to. Clause 15, Disqualification from registration. Any debate, any objection? Clause 15 is agreed to. Clause 16, Title for registered valuation surveyor. Any debate, any objection? Clause 16 is agreed to. Clause 17, Change in details. Any debate, any objection? Clause 17 is agreed to. Clause 18, Suspension and cancellation of registration. Any debate, any objection? Clause 18 is agreed to. Clause 19, Re-registration. Any debate, any objection? Clause 19 is agreed to. Clause 20, Prohibition of practicing without valid practicing certificate. The question is that Clause 20 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
I beg to move that Clause 20 be amended with words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 20 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate, any objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 20 as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that Clause 20 as amended stands part of the bill. As many are of that opinion, say aye. Of the contrary, say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 20 as amended is ordered to stand as part of the bill. Clause 21, Practicing Certificate. Any debate, any objection? Clause 21 is agreed to. Clause 22, Display of Practicing Certificate. Any debate, any objection? Clause 22 is agreed to. Clause 23, Renewal of Practicing Certificate. Any debate, any objection? Clause 23 is agreed to. Clause 24, suspension and cancellation practicing certificate. Any debate, any objection, clause 24 is agreed to. Clause 25, maintenance of non-practicing valuation surveyors on registrar. On register, any debate, any objection, 25 is agreed to. 26, prohibition of transfer of certificate of registration or practicing certificate. Any debate, any objection, clause 27 is agreed to. 27, duplicate certificate of registration or practicing certificate. Any debate, any objection, clause 27 is agreed to. Clause 28, surrender of cancelled certificate of registration or practicing certificate. Any debate, any objection, clause 29 is agreed to. 29, clause 29, valuation of surveying firm. Any debate, any objection, clause 29 is agreed to. Clause 30, registrar. Any debate, any objection, clause 30 is agreed to. Clause 31, publication of copies of registrar. Any debate, any objection, clause 31 is agreed. Clause 32, offenses relating to registration, etc. Any debate, any objection, clause 32 is agreed to. Clause 33, code of ethics. Any debate, any objection, clause 33 is agreed to. Clause 34, professional misconduct. Any debate, any objection, clause 34 is agreed to. Clause 35, initiation of disciplinary action. Any debate, any objection, clause 35 is agreed to. Clause 36, professional conduct committee. Any debate, any objection, clause 36 is agreed to. Clause 37, referring of matters to professional conduct committee. Any debate, any objection, clause 37 is agreed to. Clause 38, sanction for valuation surveyors by professional conduct committee. Any debate, any objection, clause 38 is agreed to. Clause 39, disciplinary committee. Any debate, any objection, clause 39 is agreed to. Clause 40, function of disciplinary committee. Any debate, any objection, clause 40 is agreed to. Clause 41, proceedings of disciplinary committee. Any debate, any objection, clause 41 is agreed to. Clause 42, powers of disciplinary committee. Any objection, any debate, any objection, clause 42 is agreed to. Clause 43, sanctions for professional misconduct by disciplinary committee. Any debate, any objection, clause 43 is agreed to. Clause 44, reports by disciplinary committee. Any debate, any objection, clause 44 is agreed to. Clause 45, rules relating to disciplinary proceedings. Any debate, any objection, clause 45 is agreed to. Clause 46, inspectors. Any debate, any objection, clause 46 is agreed to. Clause 47, powers of entry, search and inspection. Any debate, any objection, clause 47 is agreed to. Clause 48, professional fees. Any debate, any objection, clause 48 is agreed to. Clause 49, false or misleading statement. Any debate, any objection, clause 49 is agreed to. Clause 50, appeals. Any debate, any objection, clause 50 is agreed to. Clause 51, prohibition of publication or disclosure of information to unauthorized persons. Any debate, any objection, clause 51 is agreed to. Clause 52, offenses by principal officers of board or corporate or incorporated board. The question is that clause 52 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
I beg to move that clause 52 be amended with words as circulated.
The question is that clause 52 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate, any objection, the amendment is agreed to. Clause 52 as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that clause 52 as amended stands part of the bill. As many of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 52 as amended is ordered to stand as part of the bill. Clause 53, administrative penalty. Any debate, any objection? Clause 53 is agreed to. Clause 54, immunity. Any debate, any objection? Clause 54 is agreed to. Clause 55, guidelines. Any debate, any objection? Clause 55 is agreed to. Clause 66, regulations. Any debate, any objection? Clause 56 is agreed to. Clause 57, repeal of Cap 207 and savings and transitional provisions. Any debate, any objection? Clause 57 is agreed to. First schedule on page 29. Any debate, any objection? First schedule on page 29 is agreed to. Second schedule on page 33. The question is that the second schedule stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
I beg to move that the second schedule be amended with words as circulated.
The question is that second schedule be amended with words as circulated. Any debate, any objection? Amendment is agreed to. Second schedule as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that second schedule as amended stands part of the bill. As many are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Second schedule as amended is ordered to stand as part of the bill. Long title. Any debate, any objection? Long title is agreed to. The bill will be reported to the House as having passed through the committee with amendments. At least today we've finished very early, and the work has moved very well, is it? Fold them for me, fold them. Madam Speaker, I have to report to the House that the Committee of the whole House has gone through the National Prosecution Authority Bill, Amendment Bill number 7 of 2023 with amendments.
Okay. Day for consideration of the report.
Tomorrow, Madam Speaker.
Consideration of the report to be taken tomorrow, Thursday, 19th July 2020, or 20th July 2023. Next order.
Madam Speaker, I have to report to the House that the Committee of the whole House has gone through Human Rights Commission Bill, National Assembly Bill number 8 of 2023 with amendments.
Day for resumption of the report.
The report may be considered tomorrow, Madam Speaker.
Consideration of the report to be taken tomorrow, Thursday, 20th July 2023. Next order.
Madam Speaker, I have to report to the House that the Committee of the whole House has gone through Environmental Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2023 with amendments.
Day for consideration of the report.
The report may be considered tomorrow, Madam Speaker.
Consideration of the report to be taken tomorrow, Thursday, 20th July 2023. Next order.
Madam Speaker, I have to report to the House that the Committee of the whole House has gone through Zambia Institute of Valuation Surveyors Bill, National Assembly Bill number 9 of 2023 with amendments.
Day for consideration of the report.
Tomorrow, Madam Speaker.
The consideration of the report to be taken tomorrow, Thursday, 20th July 2023. Her Honor, the Vice President, adjournment.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the House do now adjourn.
As no notice of an item for debate on the motion of adjournment of the House, as no notice of an item for debate on the motion of adjournment of the House has been received, I put the question. The question is that the House do now adjourn. Any debate? Any objection? The question is agreed to. The House is now adjourned.
Television as business for today has since come to a close, and it's that time when we get to have a recap of business that has been considered on the floor of the House starting at 14:30 hours.
When business resumed at 14:30, Madam Speaker did make an announcement where she reminded the House on the announcement that she made on Thursday, 13th July 2023, where she informed the House about a football match between honorable members of Parliament and officials from the Turkish Embassy at the Atletico Lusaka Sports Complex over the weekend. She informed the House that honorable members of Parliament won the match by 4 goals to 2 and were given a trophy.
Madam Speaker did say that the next match will be against former members of Parliament on the 29th of July 2023, and the venue of the match will be communicated in due course. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, congratulated the team for the victory.
After that announcement, Madam Speaker proceeded to render a ruling, and this ruling was on a point of order raised on Friday, 23rd June 2023 by Mr. Oliver Mutike, Member of Parliament for Mongo Central Constituency, against Mr. Els Simumba, Member of Parliament for Nakonde Constituency, for allegedly misleading the House that Kenneth Kaunda International Airport was voted the best airport in Africa.
So when the House was considering the report of the Committee on Transport, Works and Supply, and Mr. Els Simumba, Member of Parliament for Nakonde Constituency, was debating, Mr. O. Amutike, Member of Parliament for Mongo Constituency, raised a point of order. The point of order was based on Standing Order 65-1B, which requires a member debating to ensure the information he or she provides to the House is factual and verifiable.
Madam Speaker further said that his point of order, Mr. Mutike, MP, asked whether Mr. El Simomba, MP, was in order to assert that Kenneth Kaunda International Airport was voted the best international airport in Africa without laying evidence on the table to substantiate his assertion.
Madam Speaker did say that she had recourse to the relevant verbatim record in order to ascertain whether Mr. El Simumba MP made the statement as alleged, and Madam Speaker also had recourse to the relevant verbatim record of the statement by Mr. O. Amtike, Member of Parliament, when raising his point of order.
In her ruling, Madam Speaker reiterated that members enjoy freedom of speech and debate in the House. However, the freedom is not absolute because it is subject to the law and rules of the House. One such rule is the requirement for members to debate factually. In this regard, Standing Order 65-1B of the National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Orders 2021, is very instructive.
Mr. Oamtike, Member of Parliament, did inform the House that the statement by Mr. El Simumba, MP, that Kenneth Kaunda International Airport was voted the best airport in Africa was not factual. He then went on to assert that Cape Town International Airport was voted the best airport in Africa. In doing so, he also did not produce any evidence to substantiate his statement.
According to Madam Speaker's ruling, she further said that from the foregoing, it is clear that both members did not provide any evidence to support their assertions. In view of this, both members breached Standing Order 65-1B and were out of order.
After that ruling, the House went on to consider 5 questions for oral answer under Standing Order number 74. Question 385 did come from Mr. Katakwe of Solwezi East. He did ask the Minister of Technology and Science a question in 3 parts, whether the government has any plans to upgrade the Evelyn Horn College of Applied Arts and Commerce to a university college, and in response the Minister did say that government does have plans to upgrade the Evelyn Horn College of Applied Arts and Commerce to a university, and this is in line with the revised TEBET policy. And the Member of Parliament wanted to find out when the plans will be implemented, and in response the Minister did say that the plans will only be implemented once the Ministry revises the 1998 TEBET Act, which is currently under review.
And question 386 came from Chitambo, Member of Parliament, Mr. Mtale, and this question was directed to the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. The member wanted to find out when the installation of an acro bridge across Luomwa River in Chitambo District will commence, and according to the Minister's response, in A, once the Treasury Authority is sourced, and in B, what has caused the delay in installing the bridge. According to the Minister, this is due to financial constraints.
Mr. Shakafusa of Mandevu constituency did ask the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation whether the government has any plans to rehabilitate the sewerage system in Justin Kabe ward in Mandevu parliamentary constituency, and in response the Minister of Water and Development and Sanitation did say that government has no immediate plans to rehabilitate the sewerage system in Justin Kabe ward because the existing sewerage system is functional and is being maintained by the Lusaka Water Storage Company. And the Member of Parliament wanted to find out when the plans will be implemented, and the Minister did say that, like he said, there are no plans as the Lusaka Water and Storage Company maintains the sewerage system.
Mr. Siaji Sumo, who is a Lufwanyama Member of Parliament, posed the question to the Minister of Fisheries and Livestock, and this question was in 3 parts. Wanted to find out whether the government has any plans to empower small-scale farmers in Lufwanyama parliamentary constituency with cattle in order to boost production, and according to the Minister's response, said that yes, government has plans to empower small-scale farmers in Lufwanyama parliamentary constituency with cattle, and in B, if so, when the plans will be implemented, B, falls off, and C, if there are no such plans, why? Because of the response that was given in A, C equally falls off.
So those are some of the questions under Standing Order 74 that were considered on the floor of the House. Thereafter, we did see Mr. Mambazi, who is the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee, move a motion urging the House to adopt the report of the Public Accounts Committee on the report of the Auditor General on the accounts of the Republic for the financial year ended 31st December 2021 for the second session of the 13th National Assembly laid on the table of the House on Monday, 17th July 2023, and this report was seconded by Chikankata Member of Parliament, Ms. Jacqueline Sebao, and this report has since been adopted.
There was also consideration, or there was a resumption of the consideration of the National Prosecution Authority Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2023. As of yesterday, when this motion was under consideration, when business was interrupted for adjournment, it was Lunte Member of Parliament, Mr. Mutotokafoi, was on the floor of the House. So when this bill came up for consideration, the member continued debating, moving an amendment to clause 4. And this amendment bill has passed committee stage with amendment and report stage to be taken tomorrow, Thursday, 20th July 2023.
Another bill that was considered at committee stage is a human rights bill, National Assembly Bill number 8 of 2023. It has passed this stage and consideration of this report will be undertaken tomorrow, Thursday, 20th July.
We had a total number of 4 bills that were under consideration today, and the third bill was the Environmental Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2023, which came up at committee stage. It has since passed committee stage with amendments, and report stage to be considered tomorrow, 20th July 2023.
And the last bill to be considered at committee stage was the Zambia Institute of Valuation Surveyors Bill, National Assembly Bill number 9 of 2023. It has equally passed this stage, and consideration of this report will be taken tomorrow, Thursday, 20th July 2023. Wasn't?
So basically, that's been the business for today on behalf of the 2 sign language interpreters that we've had today. That's Jason Manda and Chola Kauman. Indeed, not forgetting the entire production crew and Claudette Sindaza. My name is Paul Sentindovi. Thank you so much. Join us tomorrow at 08:30 when we open the station.